Picture this, okay? A man plunges into a frozen lake, and he swims beneath a thick, solid layer of ice for more than 200 feet.
Right.
And he does it on a single breath. Or imagine standing packed in a container of ice cubes for over 112 minutes, and your core body temperature doesn't drop a single degree.
Which just sounds impossible, honestly.
It really does. How about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro wearing nothing but, like, a pair of shorts? Or running a full marathon in the scorching Namib Desert without drinking a single drop of water?
Yeah, no water at all.
It sounds like the origin story of a comic book character. But this is a real person. We are talking about Wim Hof, who is pretty much universally known as the Iceman.
He is. And, you know, it really does sound like science fiction. But what makes these feats so fascinating isn't just the spectacle of them, right? It's the physiological reality behind them. I mean, these aren't just parlor tricks. They are documented, scientifically monitored events that have fundamentally challenged what modern medicine thought the human body was capable of enduring.
Exactly. And that is the absolute mission of our deep dive today. We're exploring the actual science and the daily practices behind the book, The Wim Hof Method, by Wim Hof himself. Because the wild thing about this source material isn't just what Wim can do. It's his claim that you listening right now can tap into this exact same dormant physiological potential.
Yes.
For anyone who is, really into biohacking or mind-body healing, especially if you follow the work of people like Joe Dispenza or Bruce Lipton, this is all about taking true agency over your own biology. It's about accessing a profound inner power.
Which is, let's be honest, a massive promise to make to the reader.
Oh, for sure. So before we go any further, I have to ask the obvious question.
Yeah.
Is Wim Hof just like a 1 in a billion genetic mutation?
Right.
Because if he is just a genetic freak of nature, then none of this really matters for the rest of us, right? We can't replicate his DNA.
Well, that was actually the scientific community's first assumption, too. But both Wim and the researchers who have spent years studying him say it's the exact opposite. He is not a mutant. He argues that he is literally just demonstrating innate evolutionary biology. We all have this biological machinery, but it's essentially been put to sleep.
Put to sleep by what? Just our lifestyles?
Exactly. By our modern, climate-controlled, ultra-comfortable lives. His method is essentially a wake-up call for your cells, and it's built on 3 distinct pillars: cold, breath, and brain set.
Wow.
So today we are going to dissect the biology of those 3 pillars and give you a really realistic protocol that you can try this week.
I love that because as much as I admire someone running up a mountain in shorts, I live in a normal house with a normal bathroom.
Right. Same here.
And I just want to know how to feel better, lower my inflammation, maybe have a bit more energy.
Yeah.
We don't need to move to the Arctic to get these benefits.
No, you definitely don't.
The book actually starts by having us look right at our own showers, which brings us to the first pillar, the cold.
Yeah. So to understand the cold, we have to look at this concept called vascular fitness.
Yeah.
Think about your cardiovascular system for a second. You have nearly 100,000 miles of blood vessels inside your body.
100,000 miles. That's insane.
Right. It's huge. And wrapped around those blood vessels are millions of tiny, smooth muscles. Their entire job is to constrict and dilate to manage blood flow and regulate your body temperature.
Oh.
But think about how we live today. We wear layers of clothes. We move from heated houses to heated cars and then right into heated offices.
So because we are constantly shielding ourselves from any environmental stress, those millions of tiny vascular muscles are essentially just asleep.
Exactly. They never have to do any real work.
It's like our blood vessels have been wearing sweatpants all day on the couch for our entire lives.
That is the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
They are completely destimulated. And when those tiny muscles lose their tone, the burden falls entirely on your heart.
Oh, wow. Because it has to work harder.
Yes. Your heart has to pump much harder to force blood through a weak, unresponsive vascular system. But when you expose your body to cold water, it's like forcing those lazy blood vessels to do deadlifts.
I love that. Vascular deadlifts.
The sudden temperature drop forces all those tiny muscles to forcefully contract to protect your core temperature. That's vasoconstriction. Then, when you warm up, they open wide, which is vasodilation.
So you are literally strength training your circulatory system.
You are. And the biological payoff for that is massive. The book notes that within just 10 days of consistent cold exposure, that vascular muscle tone improves so much that your resting heart rate drops significantly.
Wait, really? By how much?
We are talking about a decrease of 15 to 30 beats per minute, 24 hours a day.
That is wild. That translates to an incredible reduction in daily physical stress.
Yeah.
I mean, if your heart is beating 20 or 30 times less every single minute, your body isn't in a constant state of low-grade effort.
Precisely.
And I'd imagine that optimized blood flow means you're delivering oxygen and immune cells to your tissues far more efficiently, which probably explains why so many people doing this method say they just magically stop getting sick.
Yeah, the plumbing is finally working the way evolution intended it to. But getting into freezing water is intimidating. Let's be real.
Terrifying. Honestly, I hate being cold. But the book breaks down a 4-week cold shower ramp that is actually incredibly doable.
Yes, it's very gradual.
Right. You do not start by filling your bathtub with 100 pounds of ice bags. Here is the realistic protocol. You take your normal, warm, comfortable shower, wash your hair, do your thing.
Enjoy the heat while it lasts.
Exactly. Then, right at the very end, you turn the knob to cold. For week 1, you just stand there for 30 seconds. That's it.
Just 30 seconds.
Week 2, you bump it up to 1 minute. Week 3, 1.5 minutes. And by week 4, you are doing 2 minutes of cold water at the end of your shower.
And that 30-second starting point is entirely manageable because your core is already thoroughly heated from the warm shower you just took.
True. But it still shocks you, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You will experience a gasp reflex when the cold hits. That is a primal autonomic response. But as you force those blood vessels to do their deadlifts week by week, your nervous system actually adapts. You learn to suppress that shiver response.
Okay, there is also a brilliant trick in the book for people who suffer from chronically cold hands and feet, which, is a huge issue for a lot of people in the biohacking space.
Yes, experiment number 1.
Right. You take a bucket, fill it with 1/3 ice and 2/3 water, and you literally just plunge your hands or your bare feet in there for 2 minutes.
And it is agonizing for the first minute, let me just warn you.
It really is, because your blood vessels aggressively clamp down. But as you sit with it, the body eventually realizes the core isn't freezing, just the extremities, and suddenly those vessels dilate. Warm blood rushes back in.
Yeah, you are essentially doing targeted physical therapy on the vascular tissue in your hands and feet.
On doing this daily actually trains them to stay warm on their own, which is incredible.
It's a fantastic localized application of the theory. But here is the catch with the cold. Standing in freezing water or keeping your hands in an ice bucket triggers a massive panic response in the brain.
Oh, yeah. Your brain is screaming at you to get out.
Exactly. It drains your mental energy. So to override that primal urge to flee, you need biological fuel. You need to change your body's internal chemistry to generate heat and focus.
Which brings us perfectly to the second pillar of the method, the breath. Now, if you are into mind-body healing, you are probably already chasing alkalinity through your diet, right? Like drinking alkaline water or eating massive amounts of greens.
Sure, that's very common.
But what absolutely blew my mind in this book is that Wim is creating that alkaline state mechanically in just minutes, simply by offloading carbon dioxide through the lungs.
And that mechanical shift alters your entire physiology. When you do the Wim Hof breathing technique, you're taking in a lot of oxygen, but more importantly, you are forcefully blowing off carbon dioxide.
Okay, walk us through that.
Well, carbon dioxide is highly acidic, so when you rapidly dump it out of your bloodstream, your blood pH rises. It becomes temporarily far more alkaline.
Let's walk through the actual step-by-step protocol so people listening know exactly what this looks like.
Good idea.
Step 1, get in a safe place, sit down on a couch, or lie flat on a bed. Step 2, you take 30 to 40 deep, rhythmic breaths. You pull the air in, fully expanding the belly, then the chest, then up into the head.
A wave.
Yeah, a wave.
Yeah.
And then you just let it go. You don't force the exhale out. You just relax your jaw and let the air passively escape. It's a circular motion, pulling in deeply, letting go naturally.
That pace is really key here. You are actively hyperoxygenating the tissue.
Then we hit step 3, which is the retention phase. On your very last exhale, let's say breath number 40, you let the air out naturally, and then you just stop breathing. You just hold it.
And this is where people get surprised.
Totally. Because of that alkaline state you just created by dumping the CO2, you will be shocked to find you can easily hold your breath for a minute, maybe 1.5 minutes, with practically zero air in your lungs. And you don't feel any panic at all.
Yeah. To explain the mechanics of that, the urge to breathe isn't actually triggered by a lack of oxygen in your body.
Wait, really?
Nope. Your brain triggers the urge to breathe when it senses carbon dioxide building up. But because you just blew all your carbon dioxide out, that alarm bell is essentially disabled. Your body still has plenty of stored oxygen, so you just sit there in this profound, quiet stillness.
It feels incredibly peaceful. Then, step 4. When you finally do feel that real biological urge to breathe, you take one deep, full breath in, and you hold it at the top for 10 to 15 seconds.
That is the recovery breath.
Exactly. Then you let it go. That is one complete round, and you repeat that whole cycle 3 to 4 times.
Now, while you were doing this, we need to talk about what is happening to your adrenal system, because that is where the real magic happens. This deep, rapid breathing mimics an emergency. It signals your autonomic nervous system that a high-demand event is occurring, and this triggers your brain's adrenal axis.
The adrenal axis being like the communication line between your brain and the adrenal gland sitting on top of your kidneys.
Correct. The brain senses this rapid respiration and tells the adrenals to flood the body with epinephrine, which is adrenaline.
Wow.
But because you are lying safely on a couch, there is no actual tiger chasing you. You get all the biochemical benefits of an adrenaline surge, which is actually a potent anti-inflammatory, without the psychological trauma of a real stressor.
So you are essentially flushing out the biochemical residue of chronic daily stress.
Exactly.
Now, people need to know they're going to feel some intense physical sensations while doing this. You will feel lightheaded. You will likely feel an intense tingling sensation in your hands, your arms, maybe around your lips.
Yes, that's very common.
Your body might feel heavy or like it's floating. If you aren't expecting it, you might honestly think you are hyperventilating and having a panic attack.
But it is completely different from panic hyperventilation. The tingling is a direct, totally safe physiological result of the carbon dioxide leaving your body and the calcium ions in your blood shifting due to the alkalinity.
So it basically just means the method is working.
Yes. However, because it alters your consciousness and blood chemistry so rapidly, the book is incredibly strict about safety rules.
Very strict. You must never do this breathing practice near water.
Yeah.
Not in the shower, not in the bathtub, not in a swimming pool.
Never while driving either. Never while standing up.
Why is that?
Well, if you push the breath hold too far and pass out on your living room rug, your body's automatic breathing reflex kicks in and you wake up a few seconds later perfectly fine. But if you pass out face down in a bathtub, your automatic breathing reflex kicks in, you inhale water, and it is a fatal tragedy.
So the environment must be completely dry and safe. Okay, so we have the physical shock of the cold, which rebuilds our vascular system.
Yeah.
We have the biochemical rush of the breath, which shifts our pH and spikes our adrenaline.
Right.
But the moment you step under that freezing water, your primitive brain, your amygdala, is still going to scream at you to run away, which means you need a neurological bridge to connect the body and the breath. And that is pillar 3, the mind.
Yeah, Wim treats the mind as a literal, trainable neurological muscle. It requires conscious commitment to override the primitive survival response.
Because your brain is wired to view a sudden drop in temperature as a threat to your life.
Exactly. Wim has this great quote he repeats constantly. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
I love that quote. But in this context, it isn't just a cheesy motivational poster. It's a biological directive.
It really is. It goes far beyond positive thinking or like trying to manifest that the water isn't cold. It is about a biological skill called interoception.
Okay, if you're listening and you haven't encountered the term interoception in the Dispenza or Lipton world, what exactly does that mean mechanically?
Interoception is your brain's ability to perceive the internal state of your body. It is noticing your heartbeat, the expansion of your lungs, the tension in your gut.
Oh, I see.
Most of us live entirely in our heads, completely disconnected from those signals. But when you combine the deep breathing with the shock of the cold, you are forced to heighten your interoceptive awareness.
You literally can't ignore it.
Exactly. You use your focused attention to actively tell your brain to down-regulate the panic response. You consciously command your autonomic nervous system to accept the stressor rather than fight it.
Which sounds amazing in theory. The idea of commanding your nervous system, hacking your alkalinity, and using mind over matter is kind of the holy grail of biohacking.
It really is.
But, natural skepticism kicks in here. Does the hard science actually validate these mechanisms? Or is this just wellness guru hype?
This is where the source material completely separates itself from mere anecdote. The scientific community didn't believe him either, so they brought him into the laboratory to measure these exact mechanisms. Let's look at the Wayne State University study in Detroit.
Okay, what happened there?
Researchers wanted to see if his mindset and breathing could actually alter his core temperature. So they put Wim in a specialized perfusion suit, which is basically a garment that pumps ice-cold water constantly over the skin, and they put him inside an fMRI brain scanner.
Wow. And for a normal person, being wrapped in a suit pumping freezing water causes skin temperature to plummet instantly.
Right.
And then the core temperature follows shortly after.
Naturally. But while in the scanner, Wim utilized his breathing and his interoceptive focus. He managed to maintain not only his core temperature, but his skin temperature.
That blows my mind.
And the brain scans actually revealed the how. He was consciously activating a specific region of his brain called the periaqueductal gray.
Wait, the periaqueductal gray, what does that actually do?
It's the brain's primary control center for pain modulation. When activated, it releases internal opioids and cannabinoids, which suppresses the sensation of pain and cold while simultaneously triggering the body to produce heat.
So he proved he could consciously turn on the brain's internal furnace. That is incredible. But the study from Radboud University in the Netherlands is the one that completely rewrites the medical textbooks, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
The researchers wanted to see if he could actually control his immune system. So they injected Wim with an E. coli endotoxin.
Right.
This is a dead bacteria wall, but when injected into a human, the immune system detects it as a massive threat and launches a severe inflammatory attack.
It causes brutal flu-like symptoms. We're talking high fever, brutal headaches, uncontrollable chills. They had tested this endotoxin on hundreds of healthy volunteers, and every single one of them got violently ill.
It was considered a guaranteed biological response.
Guaranteed.
So they inject Wim, and he immediately begins doing his breathing protocol. The machines monitoring him show his blood oxygen saturation dropping to 30%.
Which is terrifying.
The researchers were terrified, because a normal human would be comatose or dead at 50%. He essentially flatlined the oxygen monitors. But what's fascinating is how the breathwork neutralized the sickness.
The adrenaline.
Exactly. The intense breathing spiked his adrenaline higher than someone bungee jumping for the first time.
And that adrenaline spike is the biological key here. Epinephrine binds to the receptors of your immune cells. By flooding his system with adrenaline and altering his blood to that alkaline state, he sent a chemical signal that told his immune system's inflammatory proteins, the cytokines, to stand down.
So he consciously suppressed his own immune response.
He did.
He experienced 0 fever, 0 headaches. He literally just lay there, did his breathing, and completely neutralized the endotoxin.
It was a watershed moment in biology. He proved, under strict clinical observation, that a human being can voluntarily influence their autonomic nervous system and their innate immune response.
Wow.
Prior to that day, medical science explicitly stated that those systems were completely automated and beyond conscious control.
But I want to introduce a genuine caveat here, because it is so easy to get swept away by these results.
Important to do, yes.
These are early, relatively small studies.
That is a vital distinction to make. We must differentiate between the documented, peer-reviewed mechanisms we just discussed, like conscious temperature control via the periaqueductal gray, and suppressing acute inflammation via adrenaline and Wim's broader theories.
Right, because Wim is incredibly passionate, and he often makes sweeping claims about his method curing complex chronic diseases.
Yes. The science absolutely proves the mechanism exists to alter immune function, but we are a long way from clinical proof that this is a guaranteed cure for severe illness. It is a powerful biohacking tool, but it's not a medical magic wand.
Which is exactly how we should approach it. We want the proven benefits of down-regulating inflammation without losing our grip on reality.
Exactly.
So if you are listening to this and you want to tap into that periaqueductal gray and build some vascular fitness, how do you actually start this week without getting completely overwhelmed?
The best approach is the path of least resistance. Here is a totally realistic week 1 action plan. Tomorrow morning, wake up. Before you look at your phone, before you eat breakfast, always do this on an empty stomach. Find a comfortable place to sit or lie down.
Okay, empty stomach, safe place.
Do 3 to 4 rounds of the breathing protocol, 30 to 40 deep breaths, hold the exhale, take the recovery breath. That whole process takes maybe 15 or 20 minutes.
And doing it first thing in the morning sets your biochemistry, spikes that healthy adrenaline, and lowers your baseline inflammation for the rest of the day.
Then later on, take your normal shower, wash up with warm water, enjoy the heat. Right before you are done, turn the dial to cold and just count to 30.
Just 30 seconds of deadlifts for your blood vessels.
Step out, dry off, and you have successfully completed the Wim Hof method for the day. That's really it.
It is incredibly accessible.
Yeah.
But before we send you off to your showers, we do need to lay out the medical caveats plainly.
Yes, please.
This deep dive is an exploration of the source material and the science, not medical advice. You should always consult your doctor before starting a new physical regimen. But the book specifically highlights certain people who should not do this practice.
Yes, the source is very clear on contraindications. Pregnant women should absolutely not practice the breathing method, as the changes in blood oxygen and adrenaline could affect the fetus.
Makes total sense.
People with epilepsy, severe high blood pressure, or a history of coronary heart disease should avoid the breath holds entirely. And if you are someone who suffers from severe migraines, you need to be highly cautious with the cold exposure, as the sudden vascular constriction in the head can actually be a trigger for a migraine attack.
So listen to your body, be smart, and respect the physiology.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final biological concept from the source to mull over. It is the idea of hormetic stress.
Hormetic stress, for the biohackers listening, that's like the sweet spot of stress, right?
Exactly. Hormetic stress is the concept that a tiny controlled dose of a stressor can actually trigger cellular changes that make you fundamentally stronger.
Oh, I see.
Think of it like a biological J-curve. Zero stress makes your cells weak and lazy. A massive amount of chronic stress damages your tissue and ages you. But a highly controlled, acute spike of stress stimulates your body to produce shock proteins that repair DNA and clear out cellular waste.
Wow. The book talks about how, in our hyper-comfortable modern lives, we've lost our ancestral burden. Like our ancestors constantly faced the elements, they had to survive the cold.
Right, it was just part of daily life.
But because we never face those environmental hurdles anymore, our cellular resilience has gone completely dormant. We are literally too comfortable for our own evolutionary good.
By reintroducing that ancestral burden, just 30 seconds of freezing water or a minute and a half of holding your breath, you are tricking your cells into waking up. You are utilizing a tiny, safe dose of stress to inoculate yourself against the chronic, low-grade stress of modern life.
It all circles back to the image we started with, a man swimming under a thick sheet of solid ice.
Yeah.
From the outside, it looks like a superpower. But when you break down the biology, the vascular fitness, the alkaline blood shift, the adrenaline spike, the interoception, it isn't magic at all.
Not at all.
It is just a human being who has remembered how to operate the machinery we are all born with. So as you head into your week, maybe turn that shower dial all the way to the cold side for just a few seconds. Dig into the breathing. See what dormant biological powers you can wake up.